You can stop birds from flying over your head, but you can stop them from building a nest in your hair. Have you ever had someone tell you, just ignore it? Ignore the hate, ignore the overthinking, ignore the stress, ignore the people who don't like you. At first, that sounds like terrible advice, because aren't we supposed to face our problems, solve them, deal with them? Well, yes, but here's what most people don't realize. Not every problem deserves your attention, and that single realization can completely change your life. Today, I want to explain why ignoring some of your problems isn't avoidance. It's actually one of the healthiest things you can do. Let's talk about it. Imagine you are walking through a crowded city. Every second, something is happening. A car honks, someone argues on the sidewalk, a stranger gives you a weird look. Your phone vibrates, you remember an embarrassing thing you did 5 years ago. You worry about tomorrow's meeting. If your brain decided to pay full attention to every single one of those things, you'd be exhausted within minutes.
The best advice I've ever heard in my life is to stop giving a fuck. Not about everything, but just about the wrong things. Because most of your frustration comes from caring about opinions that don't matter, from outcomes that you don't control, from people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. Because caring so much is exhausting. It's time consuming. It crowds your brain and distracts you and burns you out. And that's the real secret. Life gets a lot better when you give fewer fucks. You just have to know how to give them to the right people and give them in the right places. If you know what I mean.
Thankfully, your brain filters information. The same principle applies to your emotional life. Not everything deserves to be emotionally processed. Some things deserve to be ignored. Here's the mistake many people make. They think every uncomfortable feeling is a problem that needs solving. I feel anxious. Why? I feel left out. Why? They reply late. What does it mean? They looked at me differently today. Did I do something wrong? Before they know it, they've spent 3 hours investigating something that probably wasn't even real. Sometimes the problem isn't the situation. It's the attention you're feeding it. Attention is like water. Wherever you water, grows. If you water your insecurities every day, they will grow. If you water your fears, they will grow. If you water every negative comment someone leaves online, those comments suddenly feel bigger than hundreds of people who support you. What you repeatedly focus on becomes your reality. Think about social media. You post a video, 99 people leave kind comments. One person says, "This is cringe." Which comment do you remember all day? Usually the negative one, not because it's more important, but because your brain gave it more attention. That one stranger suddenly has more influence over your emotions than 99 people who actually enjoyed your content. That's not because that comment was powerful. It's because your attention made it powerful. Now, let me be clear. Ignoring your problem does not mean pretending serious issues don't exist. If your health is declining, don't ignore it. If your relationship is unhealthy, don't ignore it. If you're in debt, don't ignore it. If someone is abusing you emotionally or physically, don't ignore it. Those problems require action. But many of the things we call problems are simply distractions. Someone doesn't like you, someone misunderstood you, someone unfollowed you, someone talked behind your back. Do these things actually change your life? Or do they only change your mood because you keep replaying them? There's a difference. Imagine carrying a backpack. Every time something small happens, you put a rock inside. Someone cuts you off in traffic, rock. Your friend forgot to reply, rock. Someone laughed while looking in your direction, rock. You compare yourself to someone online, another rock. By the end of the day, you're carrying 20 kilograms of emotional weight. Not because life is unusually difficult, but because you refuse to put the small rocks down. Ignoring the little things is how you keep your backpack light. Here's something that changed my perspective. Most thoughts don't deserve a conversation. They deserve silence. Think about how often your mind says things like, what if I fail? What if they hate me? What if I embarrass myself? You don't have to answer every question your brain asks. Just because your mind says something doesn't mean you have to engage with it. Your thoughts are like notifications. Some matter, most don't. You don't open every notification on your phone. Why open every notification in your mind? Successful people aren't people without problems. They're people who know which problem deserves their attention. Every entrepreneur gets criticized. Every creator receives negative comments. Every student fails sometimes. Every athlete loses. The difference is they don't stop their entire lives to analyze every setback. They learn, adjust, move on. They don't waste energy fighting battles that don't matter. There is an old saying, you can't stop birds from flying over your head, but you can stop them from building a nest in your hair. Negative thoughts will appear. You can't control that, but you can decide whether they stay. One negative thought isn't dangerous. Entertaining it for 6 hours is. Here's a question I ask myself whenever something upsets me. Will this matter 1 year from now? Most of the time, the answer is no. That awkward conversation, no. That embarrassing mistake, probably not. That stranger's opinion, definitely not. Then why give it today's peace? Your attention is one of the most valuable resources you have. Spend it wisely. There's another reason ignoring some problem works, because many problems solve themselves. Think about how many things you've worried about that never actually happened. You spent days stressing, lost sleep, imagined the worst, then nothing. Everything turned out fine. Anxiety loves making predictions. Reality usually proves it wrong. One of the hardest lessons in adulthood is realizing that closure doesn't always come. Sometimes people won't apologize. Sometimes you'll never know why someone changed. Sometimes life won't give you an explanation. And that's okay. You don't need every answer to move forward. Sometimes peace begins the moment you stop demanding explanations from life. If someone constantly disrespects you, don't spend months trying to make them understand your worth. Walk away. If someone enjoys misunderstanding you, stop trying to convince them. If someone is committed to seeing the worst in you, let them. Not every misunderstanding deserves a meeting. Not every argument deserves a response. Silence often protects your peace better than winning the debate. Here's something that surprised me. Ignoring the right things actually gives you more energy for the things that matter. Instead of obsessing over criticism, you improve your skills. Instead of comparing yourself, you build your future. Instead of chasing everyone's approval, you become someone you're proud of. The less attention you waste, the more life you create. So how do you know what to ignore? Ask yourself 4 simple questions. Is this within my control? Will this matter in a year? Can I do something useful about it right now? Or am I just replaying it in my head? If the answer is no, maybe it's time to let it go. Not because it never happened, but because your future deserves more attention than your past. At the end of your life, you won't regret ignoring a rude comment online. You won't regret not arguing with every stranger. You won't regret missing a pointless debate. But you might regret all the time you spent worrying about things that never deserved your energy in the first place. Your attention shapes your life. Where you place it determines who you become. So choose carefully. Ignore the noise. Ignore unnecessary drama. Ignore opinions that don't help you grow. Ignore fears that only exist in your imagination. And give your attention to your dreams, your health, your relationships, your purpose, and the people who truly care about you. Because life isn't about solving every problem. Sometimes it's about understanding which ones were never worth carrying. If this message made you see things differently, hit subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.